What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another DC Unchained video. Alright, so in this one we're going to be taking a look at Supergirl here. So as you can see, I do have her at S rank. She's going to be the fourth character that I got to S rank, and I got her to S rank pretty much just because I like Supergirl. That's, yeah, my only reasoning there. What do we got here? Velarium Research Lab. Alright, thank you for the Velarium. So anyway, we're going to be going over her a little bit in this video here. I'll give you my thoughts on the character so far, and also kind of just how I like to build the character and my thoughts on her. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So we'll look at the let's go ahead and look at the Velarium first here. So we'll hop in. So as you can see right now, I do have a lot of attack power at Velarium, and I'm using those because I found that her attack seems to be a little bit low compared to some of the other characters. I find it takes her a little bit longer to clear some of these stages, so that's why I put the attack power on her. But also the issue might be, I've noticed that her accuracy seems to be lower than other characters as well, so that might be why it's taking her longer, because I do see the enemies dodging her attacks quite a bit. So you can definitely go with accuracy over the attack power on here, but as of right now, what do I have? I have 3 attack power on here, and switching those 3 out for 3 accuracy Velarium, I didn't really notice a difference in the clear speed. They seem to have balanced each other out, so it took about the same amount of time whether I had the accuracy or these attack power Velarium in for just the 3, but if I changed out more of them, I'm sure I'd get a lot stronger response there. But if we go ahead and look at her stats here, I can kind of show you what I mean. So if we look down here, accuracy is only at 9,500, so that's actually quite low considering the max is 23,000. So we're definitely nowhere close to that. So if we got her accuracy up, definitely think that she'd be clearing stages a lot faster, because I'm thinking she's losing a lot of damage from just the enemies dodging her attacks, not necessarily having low overall DPS, but you can kind of see from the stats here. I haven't worked on her a ton, so stats, as you can see, are nowhere near being maxed out, because we're only at 20% SP cost efficiency. We're at 25% skill cooldown right now, so not getting to the cap on those. And then also our critical hit rate, I have nothing boosting that, so that is extremely low, which is another reason why Supergirl for me right now is not going to be hitting super hard. Her critical hit damage is at 134%, so again, low on that. So keep that in mind when you see some gameplay of her, that she's definitely not going to be performing at her peak. So this is just my initial impressions of her. So now let's go ahead and take a look at her active skills here. So the 3 that I have equipped right now are the ones that I like using for just regular like Unchained, just party questing, that kind of stuff, because we have the EX skill, her full power heat vision, to do some really good damage to the boss. So definitely a good skill to have for that, because overall her other skills don't have very impressive damage, so you definitely need that if you want to take down the boss in a reasonable amount of time, or at least I've noticed that so far. And then we have the Super Smash, because getting that metal bar is actually really nice for the Cold Breath, which is the other skill I really like to have, because Cold Breath, of course, you freeze the enemies, you slow them down, so it helps you to survive a lot longer, because she is a little bit squishy, so she needs some help in the survivability department, and Cold Breath is a nice skill to help that out. And getting that extra damage and extra kind of radius or spread with the Cold Breath from the metal bar works out very well. But all of her skills have uses, so you can definitely swap out any of the skills for either your spinning strike or your ground plow, because both of those are useful as well. The ground plow also synergizes with the metal bar, so it's something to keep in mind if you wanted to use that. So if you wanted to get rid of like your EX skill or something like that, you can go ahead and put in the ground plow if it'll load up here. What are you doing? There we go. Got that switched out. So this is another good setup to have here. And then something to keep in mind though is all of these skills, especially the ground plow, have a really high cooldown. So we have 24 seconds, 18 seconds, and 15 seconds. So the spinning strike is a very good option because it is her lowest cooldown skill, which is 13 seconds, so you can cast that a lot more often, and it does have a little bit of grouping effect, so you can group the enemies together with it, so that's nice. So sometimes you might want to put that in instead of the ground plow, so you can get more skills off during the fight, which can help her survivability as well, because that will prevent the enemies, of course, from attacking you while you're using the skill. let's go ahead and switch this back in here. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and look at the gear. There we go. So for her special, her EX skill here, I like the first gear that just strengthens the heat vision, so it increases the amount of hits that you get out of it, which I think is better than the other two here, because we have this one that adds burn damage, but from what I've seen from the skill trial, unless it translates differently to actual in-game combat, you only get like 2 burn damages out of it. Like, it only burns and you see like 2 damage numbers come from the burn, and it doesn't seem like it's that impressive for leveling up the gear. And then over here we have the attack radius increases, but it decreases the knockback strength. And honestly, I can't really tell the attack radius being increased with this skill. If it increases it by a very small amount. So I don't really see the point of getting this skill too, because I've swapped between all of the gears while hitting the enemies in the trial mode, and the radius doesn't seem to improve much at all. So again, those two don't seem too impressive to me, so that's why I went with that one. For the steel beam here, I like having the stun effect. It's really nice because that'll also help with their survivability, because you stun the enemies for those 2 seconds. This one, you have the bus instead of the metal bar, so you don't get any of the synergy effects if you use it with this gear here. So if you use your cold breath after using the what is it called? The steel bar, I'll just call it that. But anyway, you don't get the metal bar, so you don't get that additional effects of interactions with the metal bar. And then right here, reducing the cooldown by 5 seconds and SP cost by 10. I was tempted to get this one because then I'll have another skill that's on a really short cooldown, so I can actually use this skill a lot. And then, of course, having the SP cost reduced is nice as well, because it also will allow you to use the skill more often. But I think the 2-second stun overall is going to be more beneficial than that. And then finally, her cold breath here. I like having the gear that increases the amount of attacks, so you can get more hits out of it, and that way you get more damage, because we need to increase our damage a little bit more, because it is a little low right now. And then also this gear right here, just decreasing the defense. I don't notice that it really makes that huge of a damage bump, that 10% defense reduction. And then finally over here we have the reduced radius of the cold breath, but increases range damage and knocks the enemies back. And this one again is nice. So it was between this one and the one that I chose with increasing the hits on which one I wanted to get, but the radius is reduced by quite a bit, so you don't really hit a very broad amount of enemies with this gear equipped. So it's definitely more single target based, so this would probably be better for like PvP. But I'm trying to build her for PvE right now, and that's why I like this gear over here. And then we have the spinning attack here, and which one did I like out of these? So yeah, so here we go. So it increases the area of the spin attack and then the number of hits. So that's really nice, because then it'll group more of the enemies together for you. So that'll be very useful. And then we have a 2-second stun, which is another very useful one. And then we have the increased critical hit chance to 100% during the skill's animation. So all of 3 of the gears for this one I actually like. So I think this just comes down to personal preference. If you want to do PvP, you're probably going to want to do the 2-second stun. And then if you're doing PvE, I think either of these 2 are going to be useful, because then this one you're guaranteed to be getting critical hits off, so you're going to have a lot more damage. And then this one here, you're going to be able to group together more enemies. So it's pretty much which one you kind of prefer, if you want to get more burst damage or if you want to kind of control the enemies, the enemy groups a little bit more. And now we go on to the ground plow, and then for this one we have a more, I guess, a stronger knockback effect, which I didn't notice too much of a difference on that one. And then right here we create a fissure that shatters 3 ways, so this actually increases the cone of the blast. So this one is actually really nice for hitting more enemies. And then finally we have a stun on this one here, which is what I went with because I like having the stun, and having the 3 fissures is actually not too much different than the normal skill, because the normal one has 2, so you're only getting a little broader of a area of effect. So I think the stun is going to be a little more beneficial in this case. So that's going to be the gears. Now I'll go ahead and look at the passive skills here. So for the passive skills, the two that I've equipped are just the two that I like in general for her. And that's for this one is mainly going to be for PvE content. You're not really going to use this in PvP, but it's to help her survivability a little bit. So you get 0.2% of your HP back per combo hit. So this can be really nice when you have a really high combo, because it's basically like having a free heal or health potion, because around like 150 hits, 200 hits, you get about half your health back, which is really nice. And then the Basics Mastery here, it increases her normal attacks by 15%, and that's because her attack animations are pretty short for her skills, so she's going to be doing normal attacks a lot. So I do like having this extra damage from normal attacks here. It seems to help out quite a bit. And then we have the Aggressive Fighting Spirit, which this one is really nice if you are playing on manual and managing your EX gauge, because then you can give her a little more survivability by decreasing the enemy's attack power, which is very nice. Or if you're not using her EX skill at all, I would definitely swap this skill in instead of either of these two, probably instead of the normal attack damage, because she still needs that heal, I think. Right here, the SP usage. This one is nice, but I don't really think it's going to be one of the main passives that you want to have equipped, because it will happen basically on every other skill that you use. It's going to cost half of the SP. If you notice that you're not getting your skills off a lot because your SP is lacking, then you might want to try this one out, but I don't think it's really necessary over any of the other passives, because I don't think it's much better than those. And then this one you just start with more EX, which again I don't think is going to be very beneficial over the Basics Mastery or the Strong Combat Flow. I think those are her two stronger passives. And then over here we have her Leadership, which is basically makes it so your summoned supporter will not disappear after you've used him, or at least he will not disappear from the list on the side there, so you can keep calling him in over and over again, which is really nice. And then it caps, of course, the damage dealt to you. If it exceeds 8,000, it gets reduced to 1,000. And then her team member bonus is it increases power, technique, agility, vitality, and mentality of all allies by 10 if you are in a base, urban, or industrial level, which is really nice. I like those team member bonuses here that increase all of your stats like that. They seem to be really nice. So if you're in one of those areas, I definitely like having her as a team member opposed to a leader. So let's see, that's going to be her skills and passives. We looked at the Velarium. Alright, and I showed you her stats, so you can kind of see what I'm working with here. So now all that's left to do is show a little bit of gameplay of her. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Alright, so here we are at Unchained, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the Streets of Gotham on Hell difficulty. So just the first stage of Hell difficulty here, and we're going to let Supergirl run through this on auto, and we can kind of just show off how well she can do here. She does it pretty well with her current stats, how I have her, so definitely if you build her up a little bit more, she should be able to do some of the later stages on auto, hopefully. And yeah, let's just go ahead and watch her go. So there we go, we plop down that steel bar, and then as you can see, you get some residual kind of frost damage from the cold breath there, which is really nice. So that's why I like having the metal bar there. And then as you can see, well, there you go, wasting our EX skill on like 2 enemies. And we get that heal from her passive. Like I said, that's really nice to help keep her alive. Alright, there we go, got through the first wave of them there, not too bad. Alright, let's drop our steel bar, and yep, there we go, Ice Breath. So definitely like that combo, and it seems like the AI will use the skills like in order, so 1, 2, and 3, so that's why I put the Steel Beam in the middle there to try to make sure that she always uses that before the Cold Breath, if possible. Alright, and here's where we have a little bit of trouble when we're fighting the energy type enemies here, because I've done quite a few runs with her, trying out different combination of skills and to test out the passives and stuff like that, and I find that this part is always where I take the most damage, because these 3 enemies do a lot of damage to her. But we're able to get through it without healing, so that's very nice. Alright, so now we're on to the boss here. So the skills got a little bit out of order here, and that's just because of the cooldown is different between the two, so they're always... And of course we missed the boss with our EX skill. That's perfect. Definitely want to hit the boss with that, or else the fight will last quite a while, because as you can see, her damage is not super hot right here. But slowly we will whittle the boss down. Let's go ahead and call in our support, see if we can speed this up a little bit at least. Alright, let's hope that we actually hit the boss with our next EX skill, because then that should finish him off, because the EX skill does about 40% of the boss's health, I would say. If we actually hit him. Well, we hit him with most of that one, that was nice. And then as you can see, there's our heal from our combo, which will always go off after the EX skill, because it takes her more time to recover from the EX skill than you have to continue your combo. So that's always a nice way to cancel the combo instead of using the evade, because like I said, you can, as I tapped it right there, just a little too late, but you can tap that evade and get the heal instantly, because that ends the combo, so that's something to keep in mind as well. So if you notice that your health is getting a little low, thanks for the Dimension Rift, but you have a really high combo, you can just tap that and boom, you have a free heal. But anyway, now let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of PvP content. Alright, so real quick, this is the setup that I like for PvP. I like keeping in the heat vision, but then switching out the Super Smash for the ground plow, because you do have more range with that, so it's really useful. And then, of course, we are keeping the cold breath, and then for the passive, I switch out the combat flow for the aggressive fighting spirit, so that we can get the decrease of the attack power for the enemy, because we're not really going to see too much of the healing from the strong combat flow affect the battle that much. So now we'll go ahead and jump into the fight. Alright, hopefully this guy has some level 60 S rank characters. Alright, cool. So basically how I like to use Supergirl here is we try to freeze them, and then you would jump right into the EX skill after that, because that's pretty much the only way to guarantee that it hits them, because her EX skill is very, very easy to dodge, so that is something to keep in mind. So as you can see there, she just used it, and yeah, we can just stand behind her there and avoid the whole thing. Alright, let's go ahead and kite around a little bit here, and now let's use our EX skill. So yeah, you need to make sure that they're frozen or stunned or something if you're using EX skills. So that's why it's good to have the stun on either the ground pound skill that we have here, or if you bring in that kind of spinning attack as well. Either of those, whoops, I walked right into that, is good to have. And there we go with that horrible targeting. Alright, target him, let's do a ground pound. Let's work our way over there since he's not doing too much damage to us. Alright, and this should finish him off. Oh, they switched. So yeah, if you're not good at getting that EX skill to hit, then definitely switch it out with one of the other ones, because all of her skills are going to be useful. So it's pretty much just suit it to your playstyle. Alright, well, there we go. This is a quick little PvP match there against the AI, just to kind of show off the skills so you don't have to deal with someone just kiting around or something like that. Makes it a little bit easier to show her, I guess, show her damage and show kind of how you want to use her skills. But anyway, that's just a quick look at Supergirl here. Again, she seems like a little bit of a squishy character, so you do need to help her out in terms of survivability. But overall, I think she has pretty solid skills, so you can kind of play around with them as you like. And then her passives, definitely 2 of them seem a lot better than the other ones. But besides that, pretty well-rounded character, because you do get heals. You can help her survivability with her skills as well. So definitely can improve her a little bit more. So I'll keep working on her. But that's just a quick look at her. I hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.